Hey YouTube, welcome back. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. Hope everybody's doing well. I have a very interesting break for you guys tonight. 1987 O-Pee-Chee wax box. Baseball card exchange, certified. You can see on the back. So, guaranteed to have been unopened. So, a lot of you know O-Pee-Chee, some of you don't, so I'll give a quick explanation. O-Pee-Chee is the Canadian version of Topps. They describe it as the abridgment. It's a smaller set, only 396 cards, opposed to the 792 that's in the Topps set of the same year. There's not as many of the stars as they focus more on the Canadian teams, the Blue Jays and the Montreal Expos at the time, and Canadian players. So it's going to be more concentrated on them. Also, the O-Pee-Chee symbol will be on the bottom left of the card as opposed to Topps. And the back will be, some of them are in English and French, some are in French, some are just in English, but they will have some of the French information on some of the descriptions. So what's interesting about this one is O-Pee-Chee back then was a smaller company that catered to the Canadian buyer, so it wasn't as affluent as Topps. So apparently their manufacturing tools and machines weren't as high a standard as Topps. So trying to get a PSA 10 or 9, very, very difficult. In fact, almost impossible according to some of the articles that I read. So if you can find one that is a PSA 10, the value of it is substantially more than a Topps version, especially the Barry Bonds. So apparently the Barry Bonds, a PSA 10, according to PSA, has a value of $2,000, much higher than the Topps counterpart. So that's what we're looking for today. Barry Bonds at a PSA 10 level. So first of all, hopefully we find the Bonds. If we do, hopefully it is in great condition. And if so, I will send it off and see what happens. There's also other notable rookies in this set. Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell, Wally Joyner. There's also Hall of Famers Pete Rose, Cal Ripken Jr., Reggie Jackson, and then there are Mattingly, Canseco. So there's some other notable players in the set. So let's get started. I'm very excited to see what we can find in here. So let's do it. So on the top is Bazooka Bubblegum Filled Pops advertisement with comics. Interesting. Alright, so let's start with top left. And I can feel the bubblegum in there. We will not be eating any of that at all. It's the bottom of the box. You can see Ricky Henderson, Jim Rice, Don Sutton, Dave Winfield. Put this back over here. All right. Let's get started. So we can see it is in French as well as English. And there are 7 cards per pack, 36 packs in a box. So small number. Let's see what happens. And we got Kevin Bass stuck to some gum. As a Houston Astros fan, I take offense to that. All right, we're going to start off with Bill Matlock, Frank White, Rick Sutcliffe, Bob James, Kent Herbeck, and Kevin Bass. So you could see the... Oh, Ernie Camacho. You could see the discoloration. Not a lot of consistency throughout. The centering is way off. No consistency. I've also heard there are tears down at the bottoms where they were cut. So it's going to be very difficult to find a PSA 10 level. But we're going to give it a shot. There's a huge gum stain on that one. Floyd Bannister, Frank DePino, Rick Burleson, Bob Nepper. Nice checklist, Jerry Hairston. With only 7 cards per pack, this should go pretty quick, hopefully. Ugh. Sounds so tasty. Craig Nettles, Tim Hewlett, Shane Raleigh, Chico Walker, Jimmy Key, Bill Caudell, and Walt Terrell. And you can even feel, you can see just roughness around everywhere, but it's a flimsier card. It seems like a thinner cardstock. And trying to see if it's in French. Yeah, so right here, complete Major League pitching record, and the same thing in French. I'm not going to butcher the language. Pitcher, and then pitcher in French, I'm assuming. All right, Jim Gantner, Terry Francona, manager Brian Fisher, Bill Almond, Clint Hurdle, Vance Law, Chris Brown. It's a Napoleon Dynamite looking Tom Hume, Lee Lacy, Mike Easler, Jose Uribe, Bob Welch, Bob Stanley, Steve Bedrosian with a huge gum stain on the back. Player I hated from my childhood, Lenny Dykstra, for what he did against the Astros in the '86 playoffs. Charlie Moore, Craig Reynolds, Bob Greesh. There's a Pete Rose, very nice, but as you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of warped. Centering top to bottom is off. It's almost a little crooked. But it's a Pete Rose. So we are going to put that aside. Dwayne Murphy, Cecil Cooper, and there's a Reggie Jackson with a nice gum stain on the back. And right here, I don't know if you can see, now with the A's. It's almost like a Topps Traded version. And now the gum's on the front side. It was on the back before. Oh, man. That is horrible. Alright. Greg Harris missing part of his face. Jim Morrison. Dennis Rasmussen. Clint Hurdle. Tim Laudner. Chris Brown again. And Dave Parker. Oh. These and you can see why pulling a PSA 8, 9, or 10 is almost impossible. They're in just such poor condition. Alright, Rob Deere, Don Baylor, Charlie Hugh, Floyd Bannister, Keith Hernandez, Rick Burleson, and Bob Nipper. Alright. Top right side. Man. Richard Dotson, Terry Francona again, Jim Morrison again. We've already seen this pack. There's a Carmelo Martinez, Vance Law, and a George Hendrick. Just look at the different colors. If you could see that. It's just crazy. I mean, opening a 87 Topps box, you would probably get one or two of those, but nothing like what you're seeing here. I mean, these are just horrible. It's like, look like the rejects of Topps just got put into a wax pack. Craig Pryor, Wally Johnson, Tom Seaver, Garth Eorg, and Scott McGregor. And Jeff Reardon is going to be missing half his body. Alright. Rick Mailer, Bill Buckner, Ron Davis, Tom Seaver again, Jerry Roos, and Scott McGregor. These are beautiful, beautiful cards. That actually isn't too bad comparatively. Mike Moore. Oh, there's a Barry Bonds. There's a Barry Bonds. Very nice. So, of course, left to right is off. There we go. Top to bottom isn't too bad. Corners are good. It's in actually decent shape. If it was just a little more right than left, consider sending it off, because even an 8 is worth I think around $35, and a 9 I think it said was about $125. So I don't know, but we did pull one. We did pull one. Let's try to get another one in better condition. Vida Blue. Now with the A's. Is he like 65 years old there? Tom Niedenfuhrer. Dave Schmidt. Now with the Orioles. Andy McGaffigan. Burt Blyleven. So disappointing. We did pull it though. We did pull the Bonds. And it's actually in decent shape. A lot better condition than I thought it was going to be if we did pull one. Eddie Milner, Kirk McCaskill, Ken Obergfell. It's the #1 card in the set. Frank White, Rick Sutcliffe, Bob James, and Bob Dernier. Kelly Gruber, Nick Esaski, Rob Deere, John Franco, Mark Salas, Ed Vandenberg, and Hal McRae. Scotty, Mike Scott, pitched a no-hitter to clinch playoffs for the Astros in '86. Cecil Cooper, Reggie Jackson. It's a little off-centered, but still in good condition. Cecilio Guante, Rick Honeycutt, Dan Pasqua, and Ken Schramm. I'd like to get another Pete Rose in a little better condition. George Bell, Bob Forsch, Wayne Krasinski, Dwight Evans, Tom Bernansky, Billy Doran, Jody Davis. It's like a poor Fred Lynn. He's not gonna make it. You know what? We're not even gonna worry about it. Freddie Lynn, Bob Sebra, Jack Howe, Brian Downing, Greg Gross, Ricky Horton, and Richard Dotson. And Denny Walling is also glued, so we're not going to destroy him. Jerry Hairston, Jesse Barfield, Mike S. Easler. There's Eric Davis. It's a little warped. Not bad. Tito Landrum, and there's Wally Backman. Alright, now we're going to go bottom left. There is a card I seem to pull every late 80s, early 90s wax pack or wax box at Atlee Hammaker. Eddie Milner, Kurt McCaskill, Damaso Garcia, Gary Lucas, Steve Sachs, Darnell Coles, and Mike Mason. Wasn't too bad. Alright. Ricky Horton, Richard Dotson, Greg Harris, Billy Dorn, Dennis Rasmussen, Rod Scurry, and Tim Laudner. Here's a Chili Davis, Matt Young, Ken LeDrew, Jimmy Key, Nick Esaski, Don Baylor, Charlie Hu. A lot of repeats. I guess only having less than 400 cards. I just wish we could repeat the Barry Bonds. Candy Maldonado. There's a Kevin Mitchell rookie card that also says now with Padres. Willie Hernandez. There's a Darryl Strawberry. They're all left to right. Every single one. Mike Smithson, Al Nipper, Ron Romanek. There's a yellow. Is that a Bonds underneath there? We shall see. Greg Harris, Brian Fisher, nope. Dennis Rasmussen, Clint Hurdle, Tim Laudner, Chris Brown, Eddie Miller. It's the same cards. It's the same cards. There's a different one. Tommy Herr, Juan Samuel, Steve Balboni, Dion Jorg, Mark Eichhorn, Hubie Brooks, Jesse Orozco, and George Bell. So no Mattingly, no Will Clark, no Ripken, no Canseco. Come on, guys. There's Joe Carter with the Indians. I like Joe Carter. Tony Bernazard, Alejandro Pena, Ozzie Guillen, Checklist, Bill Caudell, Walt Terrell, and Joaquin Andujar. You can see this is a good example right here. So you can see where the miscut, where the card below it should have been. And from what I've read, they're pretty notorious for that. Ron Shepard, Wax Stain, Greg Pryor, Dan Quisenberry. There's a Dennis Eckersley with the Cubs. Ron Guidry, Jose Cruz, one of my favorite players as a kid. Marty Barrett, and Bo Diaz. There's the Leon Bull Durham, Dennis Leonard, Dan Pasqua. There's a Nolan Ryan. That one isn't. It's a little top. It's a little bottom heavy, but left to right is actually not too bad. That is actually one of the better condition cards. Robin Yount, Hall of Famer. Mike Moore and Julio Franco. Loved his batting style. Alright, last one. Bottom right. Here's the inside of the box. Alright, come on, Bonds. At least one more. Ask and ye shall receive. But it's the first card on there, so it's going to have wax, and it is definitely heavy to the left. Well, we got it twice. We did hit the Bonds, just not the Ghost, not the PSA 10. Like Mosley, there's a Kirby Puckett, kind of a more faded. Not quite as heavy over to the left, but still a little bit. Danny Cox, Randy St. Clair, Kent Tecove with a miscut at the top, and Johnny Ray, which is just eaten up. Is it being greedy, asking for one more Bonds, one more shot at it? I don't think so. Alright. There we go. Dave Righetti. There's Don Mattingly. Actually not cut too bad. That's in pretty good shape. I like that. That one, but you can tell the difference in the color, but it actually is centered pretty nice. Rick Leake, Tippy Martinez, Dave Winfield, Willie Wilson, and Atle Hammaker upside down. Now, if we can get like Mattingly, if we can get a Bonds in that condition, I would probably risk sending it off. Come on, one more Bonds, just one more. That's all I ask for. Just one more. All right, actually, let's pull that in here. Okay, Frank White, Doyle Alexander, Fernando Valenzuela, Mike Mason, Danny Gladden, Juan Samuel, and Carlton Fisk with a huge gum stain on it. Greg Nettles, Craig Reynolds, Matt Young, Roger McDowell, Bob Grich, Chris Chambliss. There's a Sean Dunston. Yeah, so you can see, like on this, here you go. It's just where it was cut, almost like it was pulled off. Bill Caudill, Jeff Reardon, Sean Dunston again, Dan Petrie, Keith Hernandez, Ron Davis, Bob Nipper. 4 packs to go. Is that Candy again? Yep. Got a bunch of Candy Maldonados. Vida Blue, Willie Hernandez, Dave Schmidt, Mike Smithson, Burt Blyleven, and Ron Romanek. One more Bonds, guys. Come on, one more Bonds. Ron Shepard, Keith Hernandez, Dan Quisenberry, Bob Nepper, Don Ace, Larry McWilliams, Checklist, Bo Diaz. Ed Lynch looks drunk out of his mind. That's hilarious. Keith Hernandez, Rick Burleson, Wally Johnson, Robin Yount. It's a pretty good condition. Ron Guidry, Jim Presley. And last pack. Let's see what we get. That's a different card. There, a little bowed. Gary Gaetti, Ron Gossage, Rich Gossage, Goose Gossage. I can't even talk. All right, Dave LaPointe, Tony Bernazard, Mel Hall, Chico Walker, and a Phil Bradley to finish it off. All right, well, we'll recap real quick. So for me, the ones that I liked the best, the ones that I was happy to pull, were the Pete Rose. Actually, pretty good centering left to right, but up top, top to bottom, a little off. But in overall decent shape, except for that one little wart, but not too bad. Nolan Ryan I thought was in pretty good condition. That was pretty well centered, still a little towards the bottom, but in pretty good condition. Don Mattingly was a good pull. That one's a pretty good centered, pretty well centered, I should say. Kirby Puckett, and then finally the 2 Barry Bonds. So you have this one, which was way off left to right. Also had some wax staining on it. This one, no staining. Actually in pretty good condition. The corners are nice. Top bottom is great. It's that left to right. The only thing keeping it. If it was just moved to the right just a little bit, and it does have a little thing up there. No, I don't know. Anyways, so thank you guys for watching. So guys, if you enjoyed what you saw, if you liked it, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining in. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. Give me some ideas of what you want me to open. I had a lot of fun with this one. There's so much more to do. I have some other stuff coming up. I am hoping by this weekend or maybe early next week to have a box of 92 Bowman to open for one of my subscribers who had requested. Also, John with the Passes Alive, if you get a chance to see this, your box of 94 Topps Finest Series 2 I have ready for you. Let me know how to get in contact with you and I will get that your way. But let me know what you guys want to see. I really enjoy doing this. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and I will talk to you guys later.